Hello, my name is Ozge Karasu, and today I will present my Master of Science dissertation project entitled Green Energy Demand Forecasting using Volatility-Aware LSTM, a comparison with classical models. This presentation will cover 7 parts: the background and problem statement, research questions, related work, methodology, results, contributions to knowledge, and future work. Let me now begin with the background and problem statement to explain why green energy demand forecasting is both timely and necessary. First of all, the transition to sustainable energy requires precise forecasting. However, existing studies often look at production or consumption separately, and very few attempt to unify them. For this reason, I focus on green energy demand, which measures the share of electricity demand met by renewables. But there are challenges. For example, publicly available data is typically monthly or yearly, not daily, and classical models like ARMA and CERMAX capture seasonality, but they tend to fail under high volatility. And on the other hand, neural models like LSTMs handle nonlinearities, but they can overfit in extreme conditions. To address this, I developed a daily get dataset from 2000 to 2023, and I implemented a volatility-aware dual-branch LSTM that integrates forward-based trend extraction with residual attention. And my work revolves around 3 research questions. Can daily green energy demand be accurately forecasted using both statistical and deep learning models? And the second question is, does a volatility-aware dual-branch LSTM with forward trend extraction and residual attention improve forecasting accuracy compared to classical models such as ARMA and CERMAX? And the third one is, how effectively does a proposed model capture seasonal patterns and short-term volatility compared to baseline approaches? And before presenting my methodology, let me briefly review the related work to highlight the strengths and limitations of existing approaches. And classical models such as ARMA and CERMA are widely used for electricity price and load forecasting. And CERMAX Scarch can model both mean and variance, but has rarely been applied to GET. On the narrow side, LSTM has shown strong performance for sequential patterns, though interpretability and robustness remain concerns. And recent hybrid models, on the other hand, like forward-based LSTMs, improve robustness in volatile settings, but very few of them have been tailored specifically to GET. And finally, exogenous drivers such as weather and prices are usually studied separately with limited integration into volatility-aware frameworks. I will now turn to the methodology, which consists of 2 main components. First, the creation of the green energy demand dataset, and second, the forecasting models applied to it. I constructed a daily GET dataset by integrating UK energy statistics, weather and market data. I applied interpolation, regression-based imputation, and normalization to ensure completeness. And the target GET variable is defined as renewable generation divided by total generation and multiplied by consumption. I also incorporated exogenous features such as solar energy, solar radiation, temperature, wind speeds, humidity, daylight, and prices. After constructing the daily GET dataset, the next step was to apply and evaluate different forecasting models on this dataset. I evaluated 4 model families: ARMA as a benchmark for linear autocorrelations, and CERMAX Scarch, which includes exogenous features and volatility modeling. And the third one is baseline LSTM with a 30-day input window and shallow architecture. And the final one is the dual branch LSTM is a volatility-aware architecture implemented in the study, consisting of 1 branch for forward-based trends and another for residual such as weather and prices, which are combined through an attention mechanism. And all models were evaluated in 2 settings, with and without solar features, with the exception of ARMA, which was only applied without solar inputs, because ARIMA cannot directly incorporate exogenous variables. Here we can see the statistical benchmarks. On the left, ARIMA 502 uses past GAD values and forecast errors to generate one step ahead predictions, but it remains a purely linear model. And on the right, CERMAX 111 with GARCH13 extend this by including exogenous factors such as temperature, winds, consumption, and prices, while GARCH models volatility in the residues. And together, this framework captures both the mean dynamics and time-varying uncertainty of GAD. There we can see the comparison of the neural approaches. The baseline LSTM is a simple model with a 30-day input window and one hidden layer which captures sequential patterns but struggles with volatility. In contrast, the dual branch LSTM implemented in this study separates long-term seasonal trends modeled with Fourier features from short-term residual factors such as weather and prices. The two branches are fused through an attention mechanism, enhancing accuracy and robustness. Overall, this architecture aims to better capture both trend and volatility in GAD. Let's move to the results, starting with the ARIMA model. Here, the ARIMA 502 forecasts are shown against the actual GAD values. As you can see, the red forecast line is excessively smooth, failing to capture seasonal peaks or sharp fluctuations. The metrics confirm this weakness with RMSE around 540, mean absolute error about 420, and negative R-square, meaning the model explains less than a simple average would. Overall, ARIMA provides a very flat forecast, missing both seasonality and volatility as well. Next, let's look at the CERMAX GARCH results. In the first approach, without solar inputs, the model performed reasonably well with RMSE of about 260 and R2 close to 0.5. It was able to capture both trend and volatility, and the variance bands expanded during high-risk periods such as winter peaks. However, when solar features were included, the model became unstable. Forecasts diverged sharply at seasonal peaks, and accuracy dropped dramatically with R-square turning negative. This suggests that multicollinearity or noise from the solar inputs destabilized the model. Having seen the statistical models, let's now turn to the baseline LSTM to evaluate how a simple neural approaches performs. The baseline LSTM performed slightly better than ARIMA, but remained weak. Without solar features, R squared was only 0.06. With solar, it turned negative as the model overfit and produced unstable forecasts. Its limited sensitivity to volatility was due to the shallow architecture, meaning restricted layers and hidden units, which constrained the model's ability to capture complex temporal patterns. Finally, let's look at the dual branch LSTM. Without solar inputs, the model achieved R squared of 0.606 and closely following actual GAD values with less noise and lag. And adding solar features improved performance slightly to R squared of 0.632. And these results show that separating long-term seasonal trends from short-term variability enhanced forecasting accuracy compared to the other models. To bring the results together, this slide presents a comparative overview of all models. This table provides a side-by-side comparison of all models. We can see that classical models struggle with volatility, and the baseline LSTM offered only limited improvements, and the dual branch LSTM achieved the strongest overall performance. The parameter counts also indicate the higher complexity of neural models compared to the statistical ones. To conclude, this study makes several key contributions to the field of green energy demand forecasting. My main contributions are constructing the first daily GET dataset for the UK, and showing that classical models alone are insufficient for volatility, and demonstrating that a hybrid volatility-aware dual-branch LSTM delivers superior accuracy and stability. and highlighting the importance of integrating exogenous factors like weather and prices into renewable demand forecasting. And this work can be extended in several ways. For example, real-time forecasting using live data streams or testing across different countries and energy systems, exploring probabilistic approaches such as Bayesian LSTMs or quantile regression, and adapting transformer-based models for long-term dependencies and expanding the GET concept to hourly forecast for smart grid applications. And here are the main references I have drawn on throughout this project, and thank you very much for your attention.